Thanks everyone for coming today. Today, I'm pleased to announce that our community in South Florida is safer. Over the past 2 months, my office has worked with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and our other law enforcement partners, both state and federal, to conduct an operation to get violent, repeat criminal offenders off the street. And today we're pleased to announce the success of that operation, which we call Operation Showdown. With the support of our partners, including the United States Marshal Service, DEA Miami, Homeland Security Investigations Miami, the Broward Sheriff's Office, the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, and the Fort Lauderdale Police Department, we're pleased to announce the federal charges and arrests for 31 individuals in Miami-Dade and Broward County, with more on the way. Today, my office will provide you with the charging documents for these defendants. As you'll see, many of those are repeat offenders with significant criminal histories. Of the 31 people arrested to date, 27 of them are prior convicted felons, and a number of them are armed career criminals. Their prior offenses include armed robberies, assaults, trafficking firearms, trafficking narcotics, to name a few. These are not isolated cases. These are cases that we have to deal with far too much. But today, we're putting a stop to that by arresting and charging these individuals. As part of this operation, we've seized 80 firearms and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Many of those firearms are pictured here on the wall. These firearms were used by these felons to support their drug trafficking activities and their other illegal activities when they were seized. They include automatic and semi-automatic firearms, including a number of machine gun conversion devices. And based on ATF analysis so far of these 80 firearms, 10 of the firearms were confirmed to be stolen, and 7 of them were linked to prior shootings, including a homicide. Thanks to the hard work of our law enforcement partners, these firearms will never hurt anyone again. And along with the firearms, we seized a substantial quantity of narcotics, including over 6 kilograms of fentanyl, 6 pounds of methamphetamine, flakka, 2C, cocaine, and crack. And one of the most concerning trends we're seeing now is the fentanyl we're seizing is being pressed to resemble pharmaceutical pills. About half of the fentanyl appears to be prescription Oxycontins when it's not. These pills that we're seizing appear to be something that would come from the doctor's office. But this is fentanyl pressed in a basement, which is lethal. One of the undercovers was told by a defendant that you have to cut the fentanyl because this is really strong, it'll kill someone. And this stuff, it's infecting our communities, and it's becoming ever more dangerous, both in potency and the way it's packaged to look like actual legitimate pharmaceuticals. I'd like to thank everyone that was associated with Operation Showdown. There are far too many people to have up on stage with me, but a special thanks to the agents, analysts, and leaders from the ATF Miami, including the Special Agent in Charge, Gordon Mallory, who joins me on stage today and will say a few words in a moment. Thank you to Sharad Matiani, the Deputy Chief of our International Narcotics and Money Laundering Section, who coordinated this operation from the U.S. Attorney's Office. And thank you to the Assistant United States Attorneys handling these cases, many of whom are here today, including Nicholas Carre, Almas Abdullah, Jacob Kofsky, Elizabeth Hanna, Ksenia Simuchkaya, Timothy Farina, Michael McCulloch, Altanis Fenelis, Andrea Montes, Brianna Coakley, Kevin Gerard, Jeremy Fugate, James Ustanoski, Joseph Mahoney, Audrey Pence-Tominelli, Elena Smuckler, Vanessa Bonham, Justin McCormick, and Chris Killeran. And also thank you to the U.S. Marshal Service, DEA Miami, HSI Miami, Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, Broward Sheriff's Office, Fort Lauderdale Police Department for their support. I would also like to recognize the leaders of those organizations who joined us today and for assisting with this operation. Of course, including SAC Gordon Mallory. We also have ATF Miami Assistant Special in Charge Kyle Himmel and Assistant Special Agent in Charge John Dion. From the U.S. Marshal Service, we welcome Assistant Chief Priscilla Perez Lopez. And from HSI Miami, we're joined by Special Agent Cole Almeida. And from the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, we have Assistant Chief Eric Garcia and Division Chief Ferdinand Charles. Today's press conference in this operation, it's one step of many. But as we've been directed by the president, we're taking back America. Whether it's one street corner at a time, we're going to get the criminals that are flooding our communities with lethal fentanyl, other drugs, and using firearms to further these criminal activities. With that, I'll pass the podium to ATF SAC Gordon Mallory. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Gordon Mallory. I'm the acting special agent in charge for the ATF Miami Field Division. Operation Showdown was an enforcement operation that, as a result of the White House initiative, Operation Take Back America, ATF Miami initiated an enhanced enforcement initiative, or an EEI, that consisted of increased undercover operations, interdictions and infiltrations of large-scale narcotics traffickers, and the seizure of illegally possessed and trafficked firearms that are influencing the violent crime pandemic affecting the southeastern portion of the United States. We accomplished this by putting together a group of hardworking agents to include our enhanced undercover agents and law enforcement officers with working knowledge of community concerns and problematic areas in need of addressing. In just 60 days, as you all have heard, this has led to the arrest of several individuals involved in possession and trafficking of illegal firearms and narcotics. The evidence seized includes the photographs of the recovered firearms, 6 kilos of fentanyl, and approximately 6 pounds of methamphetamine and additional heroin. Intercepting this amount of deadly fentanyl before it reaches the streets and trickling into our neighborhoods is critical to saving lives. This outcome was not achieved alone. These coordinated investigations, surveillance, and high-risk undercover operations, of which there were over 100 in 60 days, were all achieved with the cooperation from our local and federal partners. I stand before you to extend my deepest thanks to them, whose support and collaboration were critical to this success. In particular, I want to recognize the outstanding efforts of the Broward Sheriff's Office, the Fort Lauderdale Police Department, the United States Marshal Service, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, and Homeland Security Investigations. Together, they all work tirelessly alongside of our team. Their dedication, professionalism, and shared commitment to public safety to curb violent crime are why we are able to stand here today with real results. We stand here together to make our message clear and simple. Those who traffic in violence in our communities will be arrested and prosecuted. ATF will continue to prioritize keeping violent offenders, those who traffic, possess, and utilize firearms illegally, and narcotics traffickers out of our communities, because it's a critical component of keeping our communities safe. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.